Hi, it's Josie and you're listening to the Yoga Local podcast. Welcome. If you're watching, thank you for watching as well. I'm recording this from our studio here in Wellingborough in the UK. And this week I wanted to chat to you about the new theme that we've got coming up in October. Regardless of when you're listening to this though, it's going to be helpful because we're talking about integration and oneness. So what I want to ask you now is if you've ever stopped for a moment in your world to think about the intelligence that's kind of running through you right now, running through everything right now, a powerful, energetic, intelligent force that is working tirelessly to make you, to unify itself as you, right? Every single cell in our body is combining. It's amazing to start to bring your awareness to this, but every single cell is combining to allow you to come together as this whole. And it's maybe not an everyday thought for you, right? And I get that. It's not an everyday, it didn't used to be an everyday thought for me. But that's why I'm here, and that's what I want to shed some light on for you today, because it's important in terms of how we go about working to integrate ourselves and navigate the world. So for the next 4 weeks in the studio, we're going to be exploring this concept of oneness and integration and figuring out why it's so vital for our well-being, and also bringing some very practical ways of incorporating this into your mat, or onto your mat and into your practice, and ultimately into your daily life. So if you're interested, keep listening, because I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into the kind of things that we'll be covering over the next 4 weeks. So oneness, non-separateness, integration. What does it mean, and why is it important? Okay, so let's just tackle this idea of oneness first of all. So it can be a big one to get the mind around, and maybe you could just think about it as life as this giant game of dot to dot, with every single interaction, every single moment and action and thought. It's all interacting at the same time in infinite ways that our minds cannot comprehend. Correlating all the details without us really having to do a lot. And if you struggle with this idea, just think about what's going on in your body right now. Like there's an intelligence running through you that is keeping you alive. Yes, on some level we can arrest the breath, right? We can take charge of the breath and control the breathing. But fundamentally, we are being breathed, the breath is there, and thankfully our mind doesn't really have to engage in that activity, along with the many other activities that are going on in the body to send the messages through our central nervous system to rejuvenate the cells, to renew our bodies, to digest our food, all that stuff. We don't have to think about that, right? It's not something we have to manually tune into and say, right, body digest now. This is the intelligent force that is running through us. And this is what I want you to kind of think about as you're starting to think about all the little dots that have to connect in order for things to work and become unified and work as a whole. So the practices of yoga and traditional Hatha Yoga are designed to help us come to this truth, come to this realization that we are an expression of the whole, right? We're not separate, we're not fixed and static and disconnected from each other, from our environment, from everything. And it's, again, it is a massive thing to get the head around, but I just want you to kind of invite the idea to begin with. Can you just be open to the idea? And I will strive to give you some idea of the ways that working with oneness can work with you on a very practical level. So first of all, being in that state of oneness can start to help us enhance the mind-body connection. Remember that your thoughts can shape your physical being, right? And we only have to think about how our posture can really mirror how we're feeling and body language. So it's important to start cultivating some positive mental patterns and start to become your biggest cheerleader, recognizing like just how important those connections are in supporting you as a whole. Like if we're constantly in our critical thinking and our judgmental thinking, if we're constantly putting ourselves down, that is going to contribute to the well-being, you know, that we feel, and our connectedness. So enhanced mind-body connection, when we can start to remember this oneness and how we're trying to support ourselves, we can become our own biggest cheerleader. Recognizing oneness can also help us with everyday relief of stress, right? So most of the time we're wound up like a clockwork toy, and it's like so difficult for us to actually navigate the world in that state. It's highly reactive, highly reflexive, and there's just this tug of war going on all the time between tension and action, and the signals to the body become weak, and we're not recognizing the need to relax. We find it difficult to relax. So when we start to remember that it's a oneness conversation and the importance of the relaxation in our practice, we can start to actively let go, actively reduce the amount of effort that we are bringing into our activities, and allow some of that balance to come back, allow some of the stress and strains and tensions to dissipate. Oneness can help with our physical strength. I was teaching strength today, which is one of our preparation practices, just focusing on our physical strength. And it's in the integration and bringing the oneness of our experience into creating good alignment, creating that structure in the body, using the body as a whole. How many times have you come to do something and one part of your body is feeling super weak, and it just doesn't want to play, right? It's just not in the game. And like understanding that it's important for all of our body to work harmoniously means that we can put that little bit of more grit in the game to tenderly and gently encourage those areas of the body that have become a little lifeless, disconnected, that don't feel particularly part of any whole, right? To start to integrate those, using the floor, using the areas of the body that are touching the floor, using our sense of stability to then feel into what's engaging and what's not. And that brings a true sense of stability, which then enables us to build our strength. And it's this very controlled, disciplined way of moving and connecting that prevents us from overstimulating, prevents us from like working the body too hard, ultimately ending up in a state of depletion, and you know that sense of just like being so wiped out that we haven't got the energy to take on the rest of the day. That's not integrated ways of working. That's like running on empty, and when we run on empty, we are not fully able to be ourselves and feel that sense of oneness. So we need to tap into the oneness to remember that it's a whole approach, and depletion in any way is not going to serve us. Another way, being with this concept of oneness, recognize ourselves as this complete unified field, helps us to then like grasp some of these concepts like prana. Prana is a Sanskrit term for essentially a life force energy, that life force intelligence that's flowing through us, that's integrating and correlating all the details for us to have this human experience, to live, to be in this world, to experience this world as a human through the technology of our central nervous system. So, but prana can often kind of come off as something that's quite esoteric, that people haven't really got a direct connection to. The way we practice here, using the traditional sequencing of moon, sun, fire, progressing us through stability of mind, and then into this capacity to hold ourselves steady so that we can feel and sense into these more subtle vibrations, these more subtle experiences that maybe on some level we have an intuitive sense of, but over time and with practice and by using these concepts and bringing us back to this, I'm not separate, there is this bigger conversation going on around me, this intelligent life force around me, then we can start to understand how this force is sustaining us, and then even go on towards, well, how do I cultivate more of this intelligence, more of this wisdom, more of this healing? How do I build that within my system? And then how do I, the next stages, and how do I direct that and use that as a power in my life, as to be a force for good in my life, to thrive, to feel that sense of aliveness, to feel that wholeness, to feel supported by something that's way bigger and more expansive than, just running on our, empty, kind of depleted sense of self. And then transformation, like when we start to be able to kind of touch in on these concepts of oneness and integration and unifiedness, then we understand that yoga isn't just a tool for stretching and becoming more physically able. That's a byproduct of our practices, but it's also a way of using this beautiful instrument that we have as a tool for growth, as a tool that can be used to start to identify where is the disconnect, where is the energy not flowing, what do I need to change, what do I need to transform in my life to become more aware of that. And then ultimately the practices start to move us very directionally into certain specific locations where our energies are more specifically guiding us into a field of awareness, for want of a better word. So we'll intentionally breathe into the chest and the heart, for example, to tap into qualities of energy, so increasing our energy, our capacity for prana, and internalizing so that we can withdraw our senses from the external world and bring them more into this vibrational field of awareness and sensing that intelligence and that flow through us. And then ultimately, in fire practice, when we move into stage 3 of our Hatha Yoga progression, we're so stable in our minds, we're so capable of cultivating and directing our energy and being connected to that sense of oneness. The idea is then that we start to skillfully maneuver our awareness into the spinal column, and this is the Sushumna channel, where the energy line is lifting us up towards the higher energy centers, the crown chakra, and into that field of ultimate union, into a state of higher awareness and connection with all things. So as everything is kind of building us towards that sense of state of yoga. Yoga is union. Yoga is unifying. Yoga is integration of our most dense, subtle physical body, which we need, and we need to have it healthy and well and prepared. But then then we unify that with the more subtle aspects of our experience, the ones that are a little bit, trickier to get into and to go deep on, because our mind is constantly interfering with that connectivity. So that's why we have to get the mind still in moon. That's why we have to build our pranic volume in sun, and then activate our fire at the navel center and allow those two forces to strike and give us that access to the spine and the energy that's helping us to send our energy and send our awareness up out of the more lower energy centers into something more expansive, more beyond where we're currently exploring, more beyond where we're currently thinking. And just, recognizing that it is a journey, right? And like there's no kind of shortcuts, unfortunately. And that's why we have to work into our sense of discipline, our commitment to our practices. That's why we set up everything up the way we set it up here, because it's never a one and done. There's no point in just doing one random class after random class. If, evolution is your goal, if experiencing every aspect of life is your goal, if you want to level up, if you want to max out on your enjoyment of life, then that takes commitment, and there is a path that we can follow to get us there and to start to embrace some of these concepts, which some of them may sound a little esoterical and out there when we begin, but again, it's in the progression that things start to shift, we start to transform, our level of awareness lifts incrementally with every practice you come to. So it's really important that we can introduce these concepts of oneness and integration, but don't get too lost in the vastness of that, and just think about starting small, starting to create your experience from where you're at. On some level there'll be an understanding that we recognize that we're not separate parts, right? If we were to dismember the body, we would still remain, right? We would still be us. So we're not our body parts. We're not our minds either, because if you think about it, as I said earlier, if we allowed the mind to run the show, then we wouldn't be here, because the mind is constantly distracted and in other areas of our awareness a lot of the time, in our lower awareness, running errands in our minds, running off conversations in our minds, ruminating over an experience that we had, being worried about an experience that we might be yet to have. There's all that going on in the mental field. And the thing is, there's a part of us that is witnessing all that going on, and that is stable, that is not changing. We can witness our bodies changing, we can witness our minds changing and shifting, higher mind, lower mind, but there's still always that witnessing aspect. And that's the ultimate kind of truth of who we are. We're not this separate fixed object. That's the material aspect of our experience. But we're also something way more connected and witnessing and stable and peaceful and clear. And it's that part that we're looking to access. We touch in on it at various points along the pathway, but the ultimate goal is to always be and have that connection to that deeper truth of who we are. So how do we get there? I can't emphasize enough that it's a pathway. We need to prepare for the path. So if you're looking to scale up your life experience, if you're looking to add fuel to your fire, if you're looking to energize your life in some way, we have to get things working for us before we can scale it. We can't start to put fuel on a situation that is not stable. Okay, so we don't want to add fuel to something that's broken, right? So we have to fix what's broken. We have to prepare and to reconnect. We have to prepare to understand what's working, what's not. We have to bring that awareness through our practices of restore and strength. We really start to revisit ourselves in ways that are integrated and whole, and like truly start to see what needs to be done, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be reconnected, you know, and then get that working, get our systems optimized, get our bodies in an optimum state, so that then we can really start to add the fuel to the fire. And that's why the fire practice is, you know, stage 3 of our Hatha Yoga progression. Everything else before it is the preparation. It's the fixing what might be broken and bringing it back into wholeness, right? So this all starts in our preparation practices. As I mentioned, we have stage 0, which is our classes called Restore, and Restore is what it says on the tin. It's about coming to your practice to take time to hold yourself in poses that will reshape your energy, reshape your thoughts as a result, because when we shape our energy, we shape our minds, Get still, move the body, reshape our energy, and start to find where there's that disconnect, and start to like mentally and physically and emotionally prepare for the Hatha Yoga path. We also have a strength class, which is a class that focuses more on what's broken in terms of our strength. You know, we've all come to a class, where maybe we're not feeling our strength. Maybe we're noticing that we're not able to hold a pose for any length of time. And we maybe need to revisit some of the alignment techniques, some of the mind-body connection techniques that are going to bring us into a state of wholeness, using the whole body as a way to stabilize and get stronger. And then we have workshops. We have half-hour express workshops, which help us to broaden our understanding of what yoga is. We can like go deeper into our breathing, deeper into our posture, deeper into what it means to use vibration and sound and mantra, mudra, how we shape the body, the certain energy patterns that crop up in practice that are helping us to direct our energy in very specific ways. And all underpinned with offerings that are umbrellaed by the science of living, of balanced living, called Ayurveda. And we have retreats. We have little mini retreats here at the studio. We have retreats in the UK and abroad, which again are just part of the whole package, the support package here, right? We're not about random classes, you know, one and done kind of style classes. Come and enjoy yourself, perform a little bit in a posture, off you go, see you next week. That's not what we do here. We're here to help you move along that path, to start to understand these concepts, because they are life-changing and they will help you to take on life in ways that you have not been able to take life on before, from a place of stability, from a place of clarity, from knowing who you are and what's really truly possible for you when you let go of all the obstacles, all the preconceived notions, all the outdated patterning and programming that you've had throughout your life, right? And you can come back to something that's really truly connected to that life force intelligence that's flowing through you. Excuse me. So let me just tell you, it might feel impossible. You might not want to take these steps. It's hard to make shifts, but that's probably because you're feeling a little bit broken right now, right? You don't have the how, you don't have the support, you don't have the community, you don't have the teachings, you don't know how to put them together to make anything concrete and real come out of it. You know, it's maybe you've tried before and like nothing's really kind of come together. There's a reason for that, and the reason is because it's not been structured in a way that's going to move you forward in a way that suits you at a time that's right for you. And that's what we offer here. So again, before I cough a lung up, I don't know what's in my chest right now. If you want to fix things, right? You want to find that union, you want to find that wholeness, you want to start somewhere and build to something that's really going to be life-changing. Check us out on our website, www.yogalocal.co.uk. Book onto a class. We've also got an online option, so check us out there. If you're not local, come join our community. We have an online we have an app which supports all of what we're doing here. It includes on-demand classes, it includes a community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to achieve the same things, like level up, live their lives to the best that they can. I'm in there every week with new teachings, things that support what we're doing in the class, things that we're supporting on our on-demand classes. So everything integrates, like everything is about bringing this together so that it serves the whole, right? And our business is doing just that. So hope that's been interesting, inspiring. If you have any questions, please let me know. And hopefully I'll see you in class soon. Bye for now.